Much. The gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Loudermilk, is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you all for being here. I know you've been here for a while, but we're getting near the end. One of the things that I've learned through studies of exceptionalism and achievement is setting goals that are achievable. If you set your expectations too high, then it's actually a disincentive for someone to even begin in trying to achieve those. And Chairman Greenberg, at a June 6th forum sponsored by the Urban Institute, you said that we need to raise the bar for performance, meaning what a bank did before to earn an outstanding or high satisfactory will not be sufficient. They will have to engage in more lending activity to earn the recognition. This is regarding CRA. The goal is more lending to more low to moderate income communities. And so, from that statement, it implies that banks are not currently doing enough in terms of CRA activity. So my question is, when do you believe the bar needs to be raised for CRA performance? And also 125% threshold for outstanding performance may be nearly impossible for banks with significant market share to achieve, which again may disincentivize them for CRA activity altogether. So my question is, how and why did the FDIC arrive at these thresholds?
Well, thank you, Congressman. That was when it's a notice of proposed rulemaking that you're referring to, and that was a joint notice of proposed, rulemaking for the three banking agencies, the Federal Reserve, the OCC, and the FDIC. So that was a joint proposal. I think the objective was to look at the ratings that are used for CRA lending, and we now have an expanded set of metrics to try to evaluate how institutions are performing. And we proposed a set of thresholds with the objective of expanding access and seeing if institutions could do more. We put that out for comment. We've received comment on it. We're in the process of developing a final rule. And I do think we're keenly sensitive both to the objective of expanding access and to the capability of institutions, as you suggest, to meet the objectives we set. So it's a work in progress.
Well, I appreciate you keep us up to date on where we are with that, because we all want participation in CRA, but if we raise it too high, we don't want to disincentivize banks who could really do a lot for participating. And when you're talking about rules, the proposed one-year implementation period following publication of a final rule seems to be very short, especially the complexity of some of these rules. And I would think that a longer period would be necessary. 1 year is a very short time for banks to turn operations over to a new regime of requirements and collect and report the data required for benchmarking and comparisons. With these type of constraints, because we're coming out with rules and regulations, we want to make sure, one, they're understood and that banks can comply with them. Regulation shouldn't be a gotcha game. It should be there to protect the bank, to protect the consumers, protect everyone who's engaged in it. And is there any consideration for implementing a longer period of time for compliance?
Is that direct?
That's for you, sir, yes.
We certainly received comment on it, and that's something we're going to give careful consideration to in the final rulemaking.
Okay. And I'm going to do something that is unusual for somebody in my position. I've still got 53 seconds left, and I'm going to return that.
I appreciate that.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Madam Chair.
The gentlewoman from Massachusetts, Ms.